Hello, everyone. Pretty exciting to be capping off Ethereal day one. We remember when it was still a pretty small organization and the Deepak Chopra gate, and now very happy that Decrypt is running this. I hope everyone caught Edward Snowden earlier. So here I am. I work at ConsenSys. My name is James Beck, and I'm with 4 of my colleagues. You may have seen ConsenSys recently raised $65 million. Prior to that, we sort of split our core software business and the investment arm ConsenSys Mesh. So here I am talking with our core software business, which includes Codify, Diligence, Infura, MetaMask, Truffle, and Quorum. Today I'll be speaking with E.G. Galano. He's the co-founder and head of engineering at Infura. Jacob Cantele, lead of operations at MetaMask. Gonçalo Sa, who's co-founder and security researcher at Diligence, and last but not least, Madeline Murray, who's group lead at ConsenSys Quorum. So ConsenSys products are the primary points of access to Ethereum for developers, enterprises, and consumers. MetaMask now counts over 5 million monthly active users, 150,000 developers use Infura's APIs, and our protocols group, which develops Hyperledger Besu and Quorum, are building central bank digital currencies for 6 central banks and also partnering with JP Morgan and MasterCard. And finally, Diligence has audited hundreds of leading DeFi protocols and applications and has a security analysis tool used by developers to find smart contract bugs before deploying. So I'm going to start by asking Madeline several questions. Is Madeline available?
I am here.
Great. Madeline, so ConsenSys has long supported the main clients that run Ethereum as a software. So we first built Pantheon and then submitted it to the Hyperledger Foundation as the Hyperledger Besu client. ConsenSys Quorum is also our enterprise Ethereum-focused product. Can you describe how you balance maintaining Besu and Quorum as well as our ETH2 client Teku?
Sure. So ConsenSys Quorum, our team, we're building out the components, the open source components for enterprise Ethereum. So that includes the mainnet compatible Hyperledger Besu client you just mentioned. Also inside ConsenSys Quorum, we've got Go Quorum, which is the Go Ethereum client we acquired from JP Morgan last year. Additionally, there are transaction signing components and a private transaction manager inside ConsenSys Quorum. So all of ConsenSys Quorum is open source, and we've both got strong community support channels and enterprise grade SLA-based support. So traditionally, Quorum has been private permission focused with the inclusion of Besu. This gives us mainnet compatibility and all of the strength that brings. Additionally, the wider protocols team is balancing, as you mentioned, a lot of other work. So working on Teku, Eric leading ETH2 client, Sumo, a ConsenSys rollup for enterprise use, and enterprise ready middleware components for transaction signing and orchestration. We also have an R&D group within protocols, which is contributing to wider Ethereum research, particularly in the ETH2 area.
So there's a lot, and I think a lot of people consider Quorum only as the private permission network. And mostly the sort of blockchain, not Bitcoin crowd. But it's a growing sector. And why is it, do you think, that enterprises and governments are increasingly choosing Ethereum to go to market and deploy these networks?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Ethereum and Enterprise Ethereum are open protocols. So through the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, there's technical specifications for Enterprise Ethereum, and that provides an open protocol. So having an open protocol means there's no vendor lock-in, and it's future-proofing due to the value and involvement in the Ethereum ecosystem. So there are other enterprise blockchains out there, but unlike those, Ethereum has a public network, and innovation in the blockchain space has been largely driven by the community surrounding public networks. So by using the same client across the public and private permissioned space, we're able to take advantage of that innovation in the private permission network space.
That's interesting. I mean, Beyond that, people are also really intrigued by what's going on with this recent ETH Global hackathon and the ETH1, ETH2 merge. ConsenSys has the Teku client. Can you tell me a little bit more about the progress of the merge and when might we be able to turn on proof of stake?
Definitely. So things are really getting exciting around the merge. So the Rainism hackathon is underway this month, and both our ETH1 client Teku and ETH2 client, I've got that back to front, ETH1 client Besu and ETH2 client Teku are participating. So as we get closer to the merge, ETH1 is becoming known as the execution or transaction layer and ETH2 as the consensus layer. Once the merge happens, this will converge to be Ethereum again. So the first testnet was launched last week with both ETH2 and ETH1 clients participating. It was observed for an hour 34 and both of our clients performed terrifically. And this was a really big, exciting step forward. There's longer lived testnets planned. So in terms of when can we turn on proof of stake, the big question. So the majority opinion of the client developers is that within a year, we'll see proof of stake and possibly within this year.
So very, very, very soon. I'm excited. Moving on to MetaMask. Jacob, thanks for being here as well. MetaMask had a pretty big announcement. You're now used by 5 million monthly active users. What do you think are the main factors that contributed to this parabolic growth over the last 6 months?
Yeah, so MetaMask's strategy is to serve the whole decentralized ecosystem. So we're not confined to only a specific use case, or as one use case becomes more popular than another. We're really able to grow in a feedback loop with the whole developer community. And I think one of the things that people find really exciting about that 5 million monthly active users metric is it's largely an indicator of the whole decentralized ecosystem. And the more people who onboard into MetaMask, the more users are available for all of the decentralized web. And so we get to be in this constant feedback loop where these sites are becoming more successful because MetaMask is bringing more users to them, and then these sites are able to bring more users to MetaMask, and then it helps all of the sites generally too. It's a really exciting feedback loop. We're also seeing really tremendous growth in what we call the global south. Countries that historically haven't had access to finance, haven't had access to as much development, and the people in those countries, they are passionate about the same use cases that we're seeing in the United States or in China. People generally want to save. They want to invest in decentralized platforms, and they want to try out these apps and collect art, play games, all those kinds of things.
That's interesting. If you haven't seen the way to getting a little feedback, we had a recent blog post about the growth in the Global South. So one question I have, I recently heard Dan Finley, who's co-founder of MetaMask, describe MetaMask as becoming an extensibility platform for other Web3 primitives and protocols. What is MetaMask doing currently to support layer 2 networks or even other networks like Binance Smart Chain?
So extensibility is really how we grew to the extent that we grew. So in the beginning of April, we rolled out something that we call our custom network API, which is an API that allows any Web3 site developer or the Web3 site to recommend a custom blockchain to the user. Our approach to custom blockchains and layer 2s and scalability solutions, it's to really let the users decide what they want to access. And so we allow the sites to recommend specific networks, and the user can onboard into those networks through a one-click interaction. We are working on bringing simultaneous network support to MetaMask so that you can be connected to multiple networks at the same time. And then sort of the long-term holy grail of it is we really want to launch something that we call MetaMask Snaps, which is a system for extending the functionality of MetaMask, where developers can implement custom blockchains like Bitcoin or Filecoin, non-EVM compatible layer 2s like ZK Starks and ZK Snarks, and really create a truly multi-chain and highly extensible wallet that empowers the whole developer community to build everything that they can dream up.
Atomic swaps maybe coming to MetaMask. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like any industry that deals with finance and money, and inevitably the phishers and the scammers are out in force. What is MetaMask doing to protect users?
Yeah, so the phishing vector is growing tremendously for the entire crypto ecosystem. A lot of people that were previously doing email phishing scams, those scams have just redirected themselves on the entire crypto ecosystem. And that's not specific to any one app. It's the exchanges are facing it, the wallets are facing it, even protocol hacks and the kinds of things that Gonçalo's team Diligence works on. Those are under attack too. So it's important to understand that context. MetaMask takes it extremely seriously, and we've actually we're just about to do an announcement. I guess this is a pre-announcement that we've just launched a partnership with Fishforked, which is a major anti-phishing company that is going to help us mount a number of campaigns against these phishing scammers. I think it is important for people to understand, like, some people will sometimes say, like, why don't you just add two-factor authentication? And I think that people sometimes don't understand that the seed phrase derives the keys to their accounts. And so anyone who gets your seed phrase, they have access to take your funds. And so we're going to be doing a lot around education and rolling out some additional new security features that are maybe a little different than what people expect, but I think are going to really help with increasing people's security.
All right, last quick question, 10 seconds before I move on to EG. What is your favorite use case on Ethereum right now? What do you like to use MetaMask to do? Well,
so it's not the most popular use case, but I'm a big blockchain gamer. I love everything to do with it, and I was a gamer before it, and I do Uniswap and DeFi and those sort of things too. But I really want to see the blockchain gaming space just take off in the same way that our NFTs have.
Portability across games and the metaverse. I'm very bullish. So Infura, and EG, one of the founders of Infura, is the most used API for accessing the Ethereum and IPFS networks. EG, would you please explain to the audience, why would a developer use Infura to deploy an application? And what are some of the applications that you support?
Yeah, so Infura was started in 2016 at a time when everybody wasn't yet building DeFi or wasn't building NFTs. People were building tools and trying to make sure that we had the best tools possible to build the applications that we have now. And so we wanted to simplify the developer experience and make it as easy as possible for people to connect to Ethereum and IPFS. We always saw there as being like a barrier to entry. It wasn't necessarily extremely high at the time, but there was a technical like competency required to understand Ethereum nodes and run it and have that reliable connection to the peer-to-peer network. And so we wanted to abstract that away from end users and developers and make it as easy as possible for them to quickly get started and focus on the development of their applications. And so that was how we started. When we first launched in 2016, it was actually in July, so our 5-year anniversary is coming up pretty soon. It was to support the MetaMask beta when MetaMask first launched, and then a few months later at DEF CON was when we publicly launched and made it an open product that now we would use to make it available available to anybody that wanted to just quickly start building for Ethereum and IPFS.
Cool. So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about what happened after the Berlin hard fork recently, and people are still, concerned about gas prices. What are you doing to solve the issue of gas prices, and also how are you supporting users who are choosing L2s and sidechains like Polygon?
We saw that a lot of people were overpaying for their gas prices or transaction fees over the last year and some people did better than others because they had the expertise and the resources to be able to stand up relayer infrastructure, something that could help analyze the gas market, determine when they needed to set a certain fee at a certain price, and then periodically bump that fee to get it in at the right time. And so we wanted to kind of level the playing field. So we created this service called Infura Transactions, or ITX, that we launched a few months ago. And with that, anybody that doesn't have the expertise or the resources to stand up relayer infrastructure on their own can just have it available as an additional tool to help them compete on the gas market. And then on the layer 2 side, we've been talking to some teams about how we could best support them with their plans to scale on layer 2s and side chains. And we've already started supporting the Polygon team by helping shore up their infrastructure to be able to handle the amazing demand and growth that they've seen over the last few months. And we're going to have more announcements coming soon.
Looking forward to it. So Gonçalo, thank you so much, EG. Moving on to Diligence. Gonçalo, when I first met him, his job title was Minister of Hugs, but he's also one of the hardest and most intense hackers there are in the industry. Why did you found Diligence, and what was the inspiration to creating a service around auditing smart contracts?
So the initial motivation to audit the Ethereum space was actually the DAO hack. I participated in the DAO with the majority of my ETH position back then and lost a significant part of it. And then after that, I promised that I would audit all other projects as a service to the community.
I read Matt Leasing's recent book on the DAO. I feel your pain. So it's DeFi is definitely becoming a serious economy of its own, and you see a lot of DeFi protocols before they launch. What are some of the common issues or mistakes developers make before deploying a protocol that could end up handling millions of dollars in value?
I think that's like rushing to release, and I cannot stress this enough. Seriously, I advise all founders to take just the time to properly vet internally the code that they are deploying to mainnet. After all, the code is immutable, and you should be sure of what you're putting on mainnet.
Well, there seems to also then be people who are seeking automated tools, but a hands-on look at your code and even sort of your economic security model is important. So how are you keeping up with the demand in auditing all these DeFi protocols, some of which seem to launch once a week?
Yeah, so this is a common practice in the security industry, non-Web3, right? But we're trying to shift security left. So we're targeting a whole lot of new services and products that actually try to service clients earlier in their development lifecycle. So we started this with spot checks. Spot checks are basically just like shorter duration security reviews that can be done in a more high level, from a more high level perspective, and maybe even at a design phase, right? And then some new products that actually fall in the intersection of formal methods and manual security reviews, like Scribble and our new fuzzer.
The fuzzer is called Harvey, huh? What is this? What is Scribble? And what is this fuzzing as a service that you're talking about?
Yeah, so Scribble is a new open source specification language that we have created and have been testing in-house for the past I don't know, like 10 to 12 months. And actually, just open sourced it in December of last year. But in a world where audits take like 6 months to schedule, Scribble is actually solving the security needs of product teams by enabling like programmatic checks during their development lifecycle. Fuzzing as a service, which is the new product that we released with Harvey, or Fuzzer, is actually a new product that is able to check these Scribble properties in an extremely efficient manner. As for the services side, this is our new products. As for the services side, we have some exciting new updates to the way we are booking our audits soon. TM. So I'd advise the audience to keep tuned to the ConsenSys Audits Twitter account for all these goodies.